All
That's
right,
true.
I am going to put this court into session. I will say this is going to be a serious court. Any outbursts, shenanigans, buffoonery, acting like an idiot out back there in the back seats, I will hold you in contempt and I will send you straight to prison. There's plenty of officers here to take you.
Sorry, chat. Pouring water. What case is
Today
this? The
we're going
Kurt
to
Leonard
have
case.
Kurt Leonard being charged with attempted second-degree murder ×1. He's being prosecuted by the district attorney's office. Miss West, you being the district attorney, would you like to give your opening statement?
Yes, I would, Your Honor.
Before we start, though, Mr. Leonard or the lawyers, Mr. Leonard, how would he plead to these charges?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. Now you can give your opening statement.
All right. Gonna open this up real quick, because...
No, that's fine, Bacon.
You know I can't remember this off the top of my head. All right. I'm going to start with a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. Justice consists not in being neutral between right and wrong, but in finding out the right and upholding it wherever found against the wrong. It would have been easy for the district attorney's office to gloss over the tragic events that befell Curtis Swilroyd. It would have been easy to come up with a defense, and it would have been easy to shut off my conscience, and as Teddy Roosevelt famously said, to stay in the neutral and within the status quo, and to not rock the boat, so to speak. It takes great courage and conviction to do what is right, and I'll be the first to admit that at first I was scared to take this route, to stand up to Mr. Swilroyd, or to stand up for Mr. Swilroyd, and bring a murder case of all things against a police officer. But my needs and feelings are not important. I am merely a vessel for justice. Mr. Swirlowood is what matters, and he demands justice. He demands retribution. There is this misconception that the district attorney's office represents police officers, that we are on retainer for our boys in blue. I want to make it abundantly clear that we serve the needs of the people, the citizens of Los Santos, and those who need us most. Justice consists not in being neutral between right and wrong, but in finding out the right and upholding it, wherever found against the wrong. And this is what I am doing today. Taking a stance and fighting for what is right and what is just and what is moral, and upholding the right, which is so precious. Every American citizen has certain inalienable rights, and every single one of us in this room today has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I implore the courts today to acknowledge those rights, uphold them, and not trample on them today. Justice is said to be blind, and Judge Coyote, I trust you to make that right decision today. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Mr. Shaw, are you going to be giving the opening?
Absolutely. So, Your Honor, and people of the court, I'd like to start off by saying thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. We're here today because my client, Kurt Leonard, has been falsely accused of attempted second-degree murder. On June 15th, Kurt Leonard saw Curtis Swilroyd willfully put the lives of others in immediate danger as he launched a vehicle that he was driving from upper pillbox to lower pillbox, almost striking an individual. At this point, given Leonard had a good faith belief that Curtis posed a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to others, he acted accordingly within the parameters of his duties as a law enforcement officer to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. We ask that the court take into account the reasonableness of the use of force that must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on scene, rather than with 20/20 vision of hindsight. Thank you.
All right. All right, would the prosecutors like to call the first witness?
Yes, I would. I would like to call Officer Owen Svensson to the stand.
All right, Svensson is first.
All right, Mr. Svensson, can you come forward? Can you jump while you're coming forward? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm good at jumping.
Do you want to do these questions?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay, raise your hand for me. You swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you, Ghost Stalker.
I do.
Sworn in, Your Honor.
All righty, thank you. You may proceed with the question.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, afternoon, Mr. Svensson. How you doing?
Doing well.
All right, that's good to hear. I'm going to start off my questions with, can you please tell the courts what happened on June 15th, 2019?
Yeah. I was at a Fleeca Bank robbery, attending to a false panic alarm with Senior Deputy Rogers when we received a 1013 from the hospital that I believe was either Deputy Williams or Officer Reinhardt. I had Senior Deputy Rogers go and respond to that while I cleaned up the bank robbery. And as I was doing that, a second 1013 happened on the radio, to which I responded to code 3. As I was entering upper pillbox, Deputy Rogers informed me that it was at lower pillbox, and I began to hear gunfire. I drove at the time was a service truck. I was in the BCSO down on San Andreas, and I made a left northbound onto Strawberry, where it meets Los Santos Freeway. I saw a tan cavalcade SUV going up the northbound lane, and Deputy Rogers was firing at it with a rifle, and he stated something along the lines of, "That's the vehicle, stop that vehicle," to which I followed it in my truck about, I would say, less than a quarter mile before the tire was disabled, and the suspect in the driver's seat jumped out and fled across the freeway westbound underneath Del Perro Freeway. I did the same. I exited my vehicle and chased him across the freeway, initially with my pistol out. After I saw he had nothing in his hands, I switched to, I believe, my taser and started giving verbal commands to put his hands up. And I quote, "Let me see your fucking hands." To which he responded, "I have nothing. Stop shooting. Why are you shooting?" At that time, Deputy Leonard came up from the south and fired a number of shots at the suspects, which struck him. The suspect, which is now Curtis Swolroyd, identified by, he stated, again, "I have nothing, stop shooting," to which I told Deputy Leonard to stop firing, he's unarmed. One more shot was fired at Mr. Swolroyd, and he passed out from, I believe, blood loss, and I returned to the hospital to attend to the 1013s, which are priority.
All right. Did Mr. Swolroyd acknowledge your commands to stop running?
He acknowledged my verbal commands, but did not comply with them.
All right. What did Mr. Swolroyd say?
"I've got nothing, stop shooting." I think that was in reference to the rifle fire from Rogers.
All right. What was the distance between you and Mr.
I would say no more than 15 feet at all times.
Okay. Okay. Could you hear Mr. Swolroyd at the distance you were from him?
Yeah, clearly.
Were you closer to Mr. Swolroyd than Deputy Leonard was?
Yes.
How far from was Deputy Leonard from Mr. Swolroyd when the officer started to open fire at him?
I would say about 20 to 30 feet.
All right. Was Mr. Swolroyd continuously running during the entire time he was being shot at?
Yes.
Did you witness Mr. Swolroyd reach for any kind of weapon?
I did not.
Did Deputy Leonard ever announce his presence?
No.
Did Deputy Leonard ever state that he was going to shoot Mr. Swolroyd or shoot period?
Not that I'm aware of.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Can you repeat that question?
I asked him if if Deputy Leonard ever said he was going to shoot the suspect, Mr. Swolroyd.
Svensson made it clear that he wasn't there at the very beginning, and there were, again...
I want to sustain that.
Thank
I
you.
don't like that question at all.
Okay. Did Deputy Leonard say anything at all during the incident?
Objection, Your Honor. Again, calls for speculation.
Once he showed...
Within his presence.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Did Mr. Leonard say anything? If he said anything, what would that be speculation?
I'll withdraw that, Your Honor.
All right, continue.
Do you want me to re-ask the question, or...
Please do.
Did Deputy Leonard say anything during the time of the incident?
Not that I'm aware of.
There we go.
What did Mr. Swolroyd say as Deputy Leonard started to shoot at him?
I don't have it verbatim, but along the lines of "Stop shooting! I'm unarmed. Stop shooting me."
Was Mr. Swallow in plain sight at the time of the shooting?
Yes.
Did you have a weapon out at the time of the shooting?
Yes.
What weapon was that?
Taser.
Okay. Did you ever discharge your lethal firearm?
No, I did not.
Did you ever discharge your taser?
No, I did not.
Why did you decide to use your taser and not a gun?
I didn't see a weapon present in Mr. Swalward's hands.
How close was Deputy Leonard from Mr. Swallow when he fired his last shot?
Less than 10 feet.
What did you say to Deputy Leonard once he started shooting at Mr. Swallow?
I told him to stop shooting. He doesn't have anything, or he's unarmed.
And what did Deputy Leonard do once he yelled out that Curtis was unarmed and to stop shooting?
I believe he fired one more shot, and then Curtis fell to the ground.
All right. No more questions, Your Honor.
All right. Would the defense like to redirect?
Absolutely. Hey, Svensson, how are you?
Still good.
So, I've got a question. I'm fairly certain it was made very clear that Mr. Swolroyd himself stated that he was not armed. To the best of your knowledge, do you know if he had a weapon on his person?
I did not. I wasn't involved in his arrest.
Did you hear any radio callouts in reference to the individual in the cavalcade being involved in the shooting prior to?
Objection, out of scope. We did not bring up anything prior.
I am going to sustain that.
Your Honor, he actually stated within his first question, which was, can you tell the courts what happened on June 15th? And went into detail in regards to that.
He brought
Well,
up a... Oh, sorry.
I will say that that was involved in the narrative, and if you want to ask questions in scope of the narrative, and I feel that Mr. Shaw does have the ability to do so, so I'm going to change that to I'm going to overrule that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you like me to ask it again?
Please do.
Did you hear any radio communications in reference to the cavalcade?
Yeah, Deputy Rogers said something about, it's that vehicle, stop that vehicle.
Was there any mention as to whether or not that vehicle being involved to the shooting prior to?
There was a lot of radio traffic involving two 1013s, not that I can recall clearly.
And were you the first officer on scene?
No.
Do you know who was?
I believe it would be Deputy Williams or Officer Reinhardt, who were involved in the 1013s.
And both of those officers were down as a result of being shot, correct?
That is correct.
Which would leave, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 other officers to be on scene? Is that correct?
Deputy Rogers arrived shortly before I did, and Deputy Leonard arrived nearly when I did, as far as I'm aware.
So is it safe to say that Rogers would have had more situational awareness of the situation given he was there prior to you?
Yeah.
And do you remember any calls from dispatch in regards to the cavalcade driven by Curtis Swolroyd?
I wasn't focused on my dispatch. I was focused on the 1013s. So no.
So just to clarify, you were unaware that there is a, to the best of my knowledge, a 1031B reported for the exact cavalcade that Mr. Swolroyd...
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yep, go ahead.
I don't know what any of these codes mean. Can y'all...
Yep.
1013 means officer down. 1031
Okay.
Bravo means theft, robbery.
Instead of giving the code, can we just say what it means?
Yep,
That
is
way
fine.
it's clear to everyone. Not everyone here's an
In fact,
officer.
I'll have officers clarify. So just for clarification, could you just go over what a 1031B is?
1031B is usually a robbery involving a gun.
And typically, when a 1031B or a robbery involving a gun also includes the description of a vehicle, is it safe to assume that it's a carjacking at gunpoint?
Not always. Sometimes it can be the vehicle contains the gunman pointing the weapon. Doesn't always have to be a carjacking.
But in either case, it would involve an armed individual, correct?
Yes.
Had you known that a 31B was reported on the individual, or not on the individual, but on the vehicle that Curtis Wilroyd was driving, would you have taken out your taser or your firearm?
Objection, speculation.
I'm going to sustain that.
Just a second, Your Honor. How do I want to word that?
Yeah.
Okay. Per SOPs within the police department, would it be standard to respond to a 1031B with a taser or a firearm? She's going to call scope.
It would be procedure to respond with a firearm.
No further questions.
Thank you.
No.
I have a few questions. All right. You stated that Roger said it was that vehicle, stop that vehicle, over dispatch. At any time, did you hear Roger say to shoot that vehicle?
I don't believe he made a call out to shoot the vehicle, no.
Okay. Is it standard procedure to open fire on a person who is merely suspected of committing a robbery?
No, it is not.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Shaw, would you like to redirect that?
No, actually.
Okay.
Not right now.
You can step down.
Washed up?
Miss West, do you have any other witnesses you'd like to call?
Yes, I would like to call Curtis Swolleroyd to the stand.
Mr. Silva, can you step forward?
This is going to get interesting, chat.
Mr. Swolroyd.
How you
Please
doing?
place the right hand up. The left hand, sorry.
All right.
Do you swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth so help you
No,
go
Flacco.
stalker?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yes, I do.
Sworn in, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right. First off, I just want to ask, how are you doing?
Just, all right. Just want to get this past me.
All right. That's fair. Why were you in the area of Pillbox on June 15th?
Well, I thought my friends were in trouble with some bad people that we are not friends with, and I was kind of investigating.
Okay. After the whole shooting occurred, were you ever criminally charged with anything?
No.
Okay. When did you first realize that you were being shot at?
After I jumped down from Upper Pillbox and made a left on Los Santos Freeway.
Okay. Did you hear the officers say anything as they opened fire on your vehicle?
No.
Okay. What did you do once the officers shot at your vehicle?
I tried to get the hell out of there. Kept going up north, Los
Okay.
Santos Freeway.
Were you driving or on foot?
I was driving, and then I received more gunfire, and that's when I leapt out of the car.
Okay. Once you exited the vehicle and you were running on foot, which officer shot at you?
While I was running on the highway, or when I got to the
When
other...
you exited the vehicle, can you identify it?
I can't really identify him, no. It was pretty far away.
Okay. Once you... Okay, let me rephrase this real quick. Where did you run to after you left your vehicle?
I hopped over the median and ran to the like a grassy area
Okay.
on the side of the highway.
All right. What happened once you got over there?
Well, when I got over there, Owen told me to put my hands up. And I kept running. I said I don't have a gun, I don't have nothing, and I just kept running.
Okay. Did anyone open fire on you once you were in the grassy area?
Yeah, so after Owen said put your hands up and all that, that's when I noticed Deputy Leonard coming from the left side of me, and he just started open firing.
Okay. Did Deputy Leonard ever announce himself to you?
No.
Okay. Did Deputy Leonard ever tell you that he would shoot you if you did not stop running?
No.
Okay. Did he say that he would shoot you if you did not put your hands up?
No.
Okay. Were you ever tested for gunshot residue?
Yes.
Okay. What were the test results?
Negative.
Okay. Did you hear Deputy Svensson say anything during this whole ordeal?
Yeah, he was yelling at Mr. Leonard to stop shooting because I'm unarmed.
Okay. During this whole incident, did you reach into your pockets at any time?
No.
Okay. Did you attempt to seek cover?
At one point, I did try to run behind a pillar, but to no avail. He just kept firing.
Okay. Did you stop running at any point during the incident?
Hell no. I was trying to get away from the gunshots. I was fucking terrified.
Okay. Did you attempt to defend yourself at all?
The only defense I had was screaming at him. What am I going to do? Shoot a cop? Nah. I was going to do that. So, you know, I just kept yelling at him.
Okay.
Stop shooting me. Stop shooting me. I'm unarmed.
Where were you when he was shooting at you?
Oh, I was in the grassy area, in the
Okay.
open.
Okay, so you were in an open area?
Yes, ma'am.
Just to confirm. Okay. What did you say to Leonard as he opened fire on you?
I told him to stop shooting at me. I was unarmed. You know, pleading for my life.
About how many times were you shot?
Well, I know he reloaded the gun, and judging from that, I'm pretty sure the mags are 12 rounds, and he might have reloaded twice. So he shot a lot. I think I was hit at
Objection,
least.
Your Honor. Speculation.
Did you witness him reloading?
I did, yeah.
What? There's an objection here. Mr. Shaw, were you objecting his answer or were you objecting the question?
The question.
There was already some questions being thrown through those objections. Which question are you objecting? Can you ask that again?
The one well, see where you're getting at here. It was specifically in regards to the reloading of the gun.
Can you ask that question again, Ms. West?
There was no
Yes,
question.
I
It was how
simply
many
asked
times
him
were you
how
shot?
many times was he shot?
Well,
5 times, probably.
that was she was just letting me know the question, not you to answer.
Yep.
I don't think that'd be speculation for someone to know how many
5
times they've been
times
shot.
is it.
If you think so, then I think you should talk to 50 Cent because he'll tell you exactly how many times he's been shot. I'm gonna sustain that, overrule that objection.
It was 9, Your Honor. Watch that pussy.
Okay.
Continue.
I'm sorry. Serious mode. What was going through your head at the time?
I couldn't believe he was shooting at me. Like, I was unarmed. I was just trying to get the fuck out of there. I was scared. I was terrified, trying to do anything I could to get away.
I'm sorry you had to experience that. The police report states that after the shooting, you were placed in the intensive care unit. How long were you in recovery for?
I was in recovery for about a day, and then the doctor, you know, I was out of the intensive care, and I tried to contact PD, but nobody wanted to talk to me.
Okay. Despite your pleas to stop shooting, that you don't have a weapon, did Leonard in fact stop shooting?
No, I believe he shot 2 more times after that.
Okay. Did Deputy Leonard stop shooting once Svensson gave the order to stop?
I'm sorry, that's when he shot, you know, a couple more times after.
Okay.
after that. Yeah.
At what point did Deputy Leonard stop shooting?
Well, I think when my body laid unconscious.
All right, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Shaw, would you like to redirect?
Absolutely. Curtis, what vehicle were you driving during the situation at hand?
I don't recall.
You don't recall. And why was it that you were heading to the hospital?
I was headed to the hospital because I heard gunshots and thought my boys were in trouble with some bad people, you know.
And who are your boys?
Objection, Scope.
Your Honor, he brought it up.
He did bring it up. I am going to overrule that.
How is this relevance? Or how's this relevant?
You didn't object relevance.
Oh, can I object relevance?
You can. And Mr. Shaw, what is the relevance?
Your Honor, there was a shooting prior to, with both Rami and Randy. And if his boys were the individuals who were shooting at police officers, I'd say that's incredibly relevant to Mr. Swolroyd
That would
here.
be incredibly relevant, but it's a hard speculation, but I'm going to allow the question.
Mr. Swolroyd, who are your boys?
I'm his fucking boy, man.
That's my
Shut
boy
up,
right
Mr.
there.
Buddha.
Yeah, they are my friends, Rami and Randy. What does that mean? What does
that's
that prove?
not-
What?
that-
What?
that-
I don't
Are those the
understand what
boys you're referring to? And Mr. Swolroyd, if you could allow me to ask the questions.
Yes, they are my boys that I'm referring to.
Were they the only two boys you were referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and were you aware that both individuals were shooting at police officers at the time?
Objection, speculation.
Would it be speculation whether he was aware of it or not? I don't think that'd be speculation at all. I'm going to overrule that.
No, I wasn't. Like I said, I thought it was other people.
Other people. Okay.
There's people that don't, like people in the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Swolroyd, were you armed?
Yes.
Hold on, wait a minute. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but earlier you stated that you were unarmed to the police officers who were pursuing you, but now you're stating that you were armed. Is that correct?
I had a gun in my waistband. What do you mean?
Well, that would imply that you were armed. Does it not?
So, no.
It doesn't. So you had a gun on you, but you were unarmed. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I didn't have it in my hand. I wasn't posing a threat.
You weren't posing a threat. Let's take a few steps back to the vehicle that you had. I know you said you don't recall what vehicle it was, but do you remember how you obtained that vehicle?
Yeah, a friend gave it to me.
Friend gave it to you.
Yeah, Pink Cage.
At the Pink Cage. So, it wasn't stolen at gunpoint. Correct.
Objection, scope, and relevance.
Again, this all plays into why he was there.
Yeah, I never
With
asked him
said
any of
vehicle.
Yeah,
this.
I'm gonna have to agree with Miss West on that. If you would like to put Mr. Swirlwood on a recall and call him up later and ask your own questions, feel free. But I think you're going out the
I
scope
will.
on this one.
I will.
Why don't you try to keep him into what she was asking?
Mr. Swolroyd, why did you launch your vehicle from upper pillbox to lower pillbox onto, what is it, Strawberry?
Yeah, like I said, if my boys are in trouble, I'm gonna help them out. I thought they were getting attacked by some bad individuals.
Like by bad individuals. So you took it upon yourself to take that vehicle and launch it off of upper pillbox to lower pillbox without determining whether or not anyone was there prior to. Is that correct?
Yeah, my friend gave me the vehicle to go see if my friends were okay.
Did you almost strike an individual after landing?
No.
No. Do you recall seeing Brenda Pancake at lower pillbox?
Didn't even know Brenda was there.
Well, Mr. Solroyd, upon landing your vehicle, what did you do?
I made a left-hand turn onto Los Santos Freeway and was shot at.
Mr. Solroyd, do you typically decide to drive towards gunfire?
I typically drive away from it, which is what I was doing. And I don't typically get shot at by
I
cops.
apologize. Could you repeat what you just said?
Typically drive away from it? What?
Correct me if I'm wrong. You said you typically drive away from it, which is what you were doing. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Didn't you also state that you drove towards the gunfire?
Objection, confusing. Curtis does not understand side of questioning.
Mr. Shaw, I get what you're trying to do here. I understand it completely. But I think that Mr. Curtis is getting the officer's gunfire and the gunfire beforehand confused.
Yes, because I thought, they were being shot at by possibly gangbangers. All right, not fucking cops.
Gangbangers. Okay, so when you jumped off of upper pillbox to lower pillbox, why was it that you made a left-hand turn versus a right-hand turn, which would be away from the gunfire?
Because I wasn't being shot at the time.
Did you see police cars?
Not until I made the left-hand turn.
Did you have the ability to make a U-turn and go in the opposite direction?
No, because I was being shot at. So that would take a lot of time, wouldn't it, Shaw?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. How many lanes of traffic did you cross when you were on the highway after jumping out of the vehicle?
I crossed 3 lanes.
3 lanes. And you ended up in what you described as a grassy area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Were there bushes in that area?
Yes, with no leaves.
Were there a lot of bushes?
No.
Were there any bushes there that would be able to conceal the pulling of a weapon had you run through them?
No.
Your Honor, at this point,
I want to stop you. I want to see.
I was just about to
I wanna
ask if
see
we
this
go on a
area.
field trip.
Let's go.
I mean,
All right.
didn't
Outside
Owen say he
corner.
saw me the entire time?
Oh, a field trip.
Oh, they're going to
Yes.
hire a blind fuck who can't see a fucking pistol in a bush with no leaves, man. You're kidding me, man.
Shouldn't that be submitted as
You see
evidence?
this, man?
Oh my god, Buddha.
Uh,
Yeah, we're going on a
What
field
is
trip.
Hell yeah!
Hey, Curtis, ride with me, okay?
You're
Okay,
right.
we
Bus
need
everybody-
or
Can we
two
take the fun
buses.
bus?
We are relocating to a new
Hey, are you
location
gonna go
so
or you
that
gonna
His
stay
Honor
here?
can get a better look
Right.
at this. to
Everyone isn't
inform
required
himself.
to be there.
Hey, you wanna
only
come with
me,
me?
the attorneys.
Yeah, sure. 100%.
Wait, no, who's in there?
Me? Who's in there? I'm in here, it's fine.
Who's in there?
Oh, it's the cop one.
He runs a shop firm. I'm sorry.
It sounded like you got a frog in your throat there for a second.
Yeah, something like that.
Bushes without leaves. I can barely see anyone.
Is there a bush expert
Yeah,
present?
too bad I was in front of it.
All right, guys, no one's on the stand right now. No one's
I'm a
giving any
sovereign
information.
citizen.
I'm just looking, okay?
Yeah, fucking bullshit. Come on, man. I gotta hire somebody who's 9 years old and blind. And he can't see through his fucking bushes, man.
Shut up, Buddha.
I'm gonna hear that voice in my dreams tonight, I assure you.
Listen, all I'm saying is the same cop arrested me, said he could see my dick, man, in the bushes, alright?
What?
He could see my dick, he could see a gun, man. This is
Oh, Jesus
Buddha.
Christ.
son of a...
No, can't see it, it's too small.
Is there any way I can see where Mr. Curtis's body laid?
Where's
Curtis.
Svensson and Curtis at?
Right here.
Show the judge where his body was when he succumbed to his injuries.
Yeah.
Am I doing that?
No,
No,
not
reenactment.
Right about here, I think.
No.
He was right about it, right?
Yeah, it was probably like right over here. That's what I recall. Like generally this area in the open, yeah.
Which direction did he run from?
Hey,
He
stop
came
it.
from this way. He ran through here, and then around that pylon, and then collapsed
So
right
he ran
here.
to this shrubbery?
This one right here, yeah.
Is that true?
He ran this way, ran around the pylon with the structure there, and then collapsed from his wound.
Is this true, Curtis?
I believe I was running like this,
Yep, that's what I was
Yeah, that's
expecting.
accurate.
Okay.
and then ran
Then he
around
collapsed
here.
out here.
All
I
right.
ran back.
I wanted to see this for myself. Now I know a good visual of where all this happened. We can head back.
We're loitering.
Mr. Shaw, you ready to continue?
Yes.
Put the court back in the session. Go ahead.
All right, I'm actually going to ask the same question again. Mr. Swolroyd, within the area that you were shot at, were the bushes, or foliage, if you will, dense or thick enough to sort of obscure the view of an individual running through them?
No, I don't believe so. Rip.
Did we just go to the same area?
What?
Well,
Do you want me to answer
Mr.
that?
Shaw, I believe the question you were asking is a speculative question where you're getting his opinion. It was very speculative, and he gave you his opinion.
Okay.
No bushes there, man.
That's what happens when you
No.
ask questions whether you want people to speculate.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
Actually, I would like to the ability to recall this witness.
Absolutely.
Let me just make sure I document
Swallow,
that.
you can step down.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Whoa. Could we redirect?
Are we
Well,
not allowed to redirect?
Redirect. You
Yeah,
guys
we
were-
called him up, and then Shaw went up, and then it was our turn. We didn't.
Yeah, you went
redirect.
up. He redirected. You went up. He redirected, and quite frankly, y'all just can't do this all day.
Where am I
Wait, what?
redirecting to right now?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
To me,
sorry.
Curtis, come back.
You called
Okay.
him. Shaw didn't call him.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
apologies. Apologies.
Okay.
Curtis, you forgot to mention you were shot on the road, man.
I don't think they
Next witness?
went up a second time.
The DA's office, ladies and gentlemen.
Really?
Wow, nice
All right,
comments
that'll
over
be
there,
enough
bud.
of that.
Absolutely not. Legendary, thank you so much for the 2 months.
All right. We have no further witnesses, Your Honor.
That's it. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Mr. Shaw, do you have any witnesses?
Absolutely. I'd like to call Brenda Pancake to the stand.
Me.
Miss Pancake? You take the stand? Shut up, Sab.
Is this a football game or a courtroom? What the hell's going on? Shut the hell up back there. Cheerleaders, calm down. Please raise your left hand. You swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you go, stalker.
I do.
Yana, she has been sworn in.
All right.
Hi, Miss Pancake. How are you today?
Hey, Shaw, how are you doing?
Doing good. I'm glad to see you behind the desk.
Hmm.
Miss Pancake, what?
Yep.
What happened on June 15th at Pillbox Medical?
Well, basically, I was on the lower first floor of the hospital near the bicycle racks. I was talking to a friend. We were practicing some handcuff techniques. And next thing I knew, I heard multiple gunshots, to which I decided to hide for cover because I wasn't too sure where they were coming from. It sounded like the first floor near the door area where the ambulance is parked. And so I went alongside that kind of like that box plant looking area thing right in front of the bicycle rack, right next to a light post. And I stood there for cover, and probably, I don't know, seconds later, there was a giant SUV that literally came from the top floor and flew across directly above me, struck the light post, and drove off.
How close was that SUV from striking you? Or how close was it to striking you?
Pretty close. If the light post wasn't there, it probably would have struck me. It was close enough where it was probably, I don't know, inches away.
Did you, at any point in time, see anybody shooting a firearm?
No, I didn't, but I definitely heard gunshots. I just did not know where it was coming from.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Does anyone over here have any questions for Brenda?
No, ma'am. Meditate for a couple seconds, so.
All right.
Okay.
We don't have any questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Alrighty. Leave step down.
I'd like to call, if he's here. Is Clarence Williams available?
He's on vacation. He's not
Oh,
around.
okay, that's fine. I'd like to call Emily Reinhart to the stand.
Was she added to the witness list?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Hello, Miss Reinhardt.
Hello.
Left hand, please. Up in the air.
Yep.
You swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you go, stalker.
I do.
Sworn in, Your Honor.
Alright. Mr. Shaw, you can proceed.
Hi, Miss Reinhart. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Could you go over the events that happened on the 15th at Pillbox Medical?
Sure. I was at Pillbox Medical going to speak to another individual about another situation that had happened. I then saw Garrett Jobless, who had an active warrant for his arrest at the time. I pulled Clarence aside and I said, hey, Garrett Jobless has a warrant. We have to serve. And he's like, are you serious? And I said, yes. He's like, I was just joking to him about it. And I said, no, he really does. Clarence Williams and I pulled Garrett Jobless aside in Pillbox Medical. And I said, hey, you do have a warrant. Let's do this easy. Let's do it right. And he said, okay. He took out his phone mid-conversation and possibly texted somebody. Rami El Rahman came through the doors of Pillbox and to the back and said, what's going on? I had put Garrett Jobless willingly in handcuffs. He walked with me. We brought him down to lower Pillbox. I had just turned the corner. Clarence had a gun in hand. Rami El Rahman came down through lower Pillbox with a gun in hand, pointing it at Clarence. Clarence then told him to get out the area. He went back upstairs. I put Garrett Jobless in the vehicle, which at the time was the truck. I then got into the vehicle, and a red in color, four-door vehicle had pulled up next to us, had stated something to Clarence, and started shooting at us with an automatic weapon. Rami then came down from the upper pillbox to lower with a gun in hand and started shooting. I was shooting at Rami. I was then gunned down, and Clarence was gunned down shortly after calling for backup.
Well, actually, scratch that. Do you recall any of the radio communications at the time?
Very briefly, I was trying to hold myself up while bleeding out. Something about a cavalcade, that it was a part of the situation and that it was driving towards them.
And do you know who made that call out on the radio?
If I recall, it'd be Rogers.
No further questions.
Mr. Shaw, can you come back here real quick?
Yeah.
Can you ask that last question again? I just want to make sure perfectly clear that I heard it correctly.
Yeah. Who made the call out on the radio in regards to the cavalcade being part of the situation?
If I recall, it would be Michael Rogers.
Thank you. Would you like to redirect?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. You said that you heard briefly over dispatch about the cavalcade being involved. Did you hear Rogers or any other officer say to open fire on that vehicle?
I cannot recall.
Okay. Do you have any proof that Mr. Swirleroyd was involved in the officer-involved shooting?
I cannot recall. I was down bleeding on the ground.
Okay. Were you on scene when Deputy Leonard opened fire on Curtis Swirleroyd?
No, I was bleeding on the ground.
Okay. And lastly, did you witness Deputy Leonard shoot Curtis Willard?
No, I was down on the ground bleeding.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Nice.
Mr. Shaw, anything to say?
Hard call-outs, but
Yes,
on the floor bleeding.
actually.
Alright, I see, man.
Just very, very quickly. Could you just go over how you ended up on the ground just one more time? I do apologize. I just want to make it clear.
Objection,
Oosh.
asked and answered.
Sustained.
No further questions. Oh, that was petty.
Let me step down. Mr. Shaw, any other witnesses?
Yes, I'd like to call Michael Rogers to the stand. Mr. Rogers did state that.
Sorry about that.
No, okay, we're good. Am I an
Alrighty.
actual lawyer? No, not even close. I'm a Google lawyer. I Google the law.
Mr. Rogers,
Yes, sir.
you swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you go, stalker.
Yes, sir, I do.
Your Honor, Mr. Rogers has been sworn in.
Mr. Rogers, how are you today?
I'm doing well, sir.
Could you go over the events that happened on June 15th at Pillbox Medical?
I can't hear him.
My
Rogers,
apologies.
yeah.
Curtis can't
Yep,
hear him.
yep. Sorry. Yes, sir. I can go ahead and explain. I received a radio transmission from Deputy Williams and stating that there was an individual with firearms at Pillbox Medical and requested immediate backup. I responded. As I was driving, I heard automatic gunfire. I parked my cruiser outside Upper Pillbox, ran through the building into Lower Pillbox to see a red in color four-door vehicle parked next to the BCSO truck. Then it started to drive away. Over the radio, I heard from the EMS on scene that that red in color vehicle was involved. I shot at that vehicle, downing this individual that was driving inside that vehicle, which was later identified as Randy Bullitt. I secured that vehicle. As I'm checking on my officers coming back, I see that Mr. Rahman is down by the one of the pillars of Pillbox Medical, lower. I then see Deputy Leonard drive towards, or drive past to next to where that red and color vehicle had been. I focus on that red and color vehicle, and then I receive a dispatch call stating that a vehicle had been, I guess, stolen from Strawberry Avenue. I look over and to see a brown and color cavalcade turn. From what I could see from the sidewalk driving towards me, at that point I shot 5 rounds into the engine block because I felt that vehicle was coming towards me. As it veered away, I held my fire. It continued northbound. Over the radio, I stated to pursue that vehicle, that it was involved.
Now, could you clarify as to what you meant by it was involved?
I, at the time, had a belief that that vehicle was involved with the shooting that had just taken place with 2 officers down.
And what made you believe that the vehicle was actually involved?
Because it had started to drive directly into a active shooting situation. And directly towards myself.
And was there a description in that dispatch call in regards to the cavalcade?
Yes, it was. It was a tan and color cavalcade stolen from that location.
And did that match the description of the vehicle that Mr. Swolroyd was driving?
Yes, sir.
No further questions.
Miss West, you like to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I was working on my notes. Okay, 1 second.
Chat, it's so hard to object and
Asa.
also document every question asked.
All right, I'll get this out again. All right, so I'm hearing a lot about this red in color vehicle being involved in the officer shooting, but Curtis was driving a brown cavalcade. Why did you think that the vehicle or driver was involved again?
Due to the fact that a vehicle had been stolen from that location just outside of a range of a shooting, as well as it was driving directly towards myself.
How far was the vehicle from you before you opened fire on it?
I'd say approximately 50 feet.
50 feet, and you believed it posed a danger to you?
Yes, ma'am, at the time.
Okay. Did you open fire on every vehicle in the immediate area?
No, ma'am, that was the only vehicle in the area.
Okay. Is it standard procedure to open fire on people who are merely suspected of committing a crime?
No, it is not.
Okay. Did you tell the other officers to specifically open fire on the brown cavalcade?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you did not give a direct order to open fire on any vehicle?
That is correct.
Okay. Where were you at the time that Deputy Leonard shot Mr. Swilleroyd?
I was at Pillbox Medical, tending to my down officers and making sure the scene was secure.
Okay, so you weren't a witness to what happened in the grassy area?
That is correct.
All right, thank you. I believe Kermit has a question.
No,
Kermit?
No.
She asked it.
Okay.
She asked it.
All right. Mr. Shaw, would you like to redirect any of that?
Yes, actually.
I'm sure you would.
So, Miss West asked, did you tell the officers to specifically open fire? And your answer to that was no. Given the circumstances, did you imply that the officers should open fire, given that you had already opened fire on the vehicle?
It would be implied, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
That's all you got, motherfucker? That's it, man?
Fucking Buddha.
You hear that, man? That's all you got?
Miss West?
That's all you got?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear anything over what just happened. No.
Fucking Buddha.
Yes, Your Honor.
I love Buddha.
No, Mr. Bailey
Nope.
has a question.
Oh, sorry. Going up.
Do you mind putting your arms up there, Mr. Bailey? You're kind of wilding side to side, sir. All right, thank you.
So you need to speak.
Yeah, you need to speak
Very
up.
quiet.
Yeah, make sure you're yelling.
Is that better for you?
Yep, there you go.
There we are. Much better.
All right then. So, if you don't mind, could you at that time positively identify the vehicle that was as part of
Objection, Your
that-
Honor. Scope.
Can he finish the question?
He's asking about a vehicle, and that's not what I asked.
We've been talking about a vehicle this entire time, Sean.
Well, he has to ask a question that was in the scope of what Mr. Shaw just asked, because we're on a different layer of this questioning. Does that make sense to you? No, to my recollection, Mr. Shaw only asked one question.
No, understood. With regards to the actual vehicle coming at you,
Okay.
could you identify it by license plate or just by color, and how many brown or green cavalcades exist within this city?
Objection, Your Honor. Not only scope, but also compound.
I'm going to sustain that.
All right, Your Honor.
Dick, motherfucker.
Why don't
That's
you
all
break
right.
those down a little bit?
No, that's fine. So I can do that. So, do you recall the license plate number of that cavalcade?
Objection,
not.
Your Honor. Scope,
Sorry.
yet again. I only asked whether or not he implied that the person should be shot. Or shot at.
That is 100% true. I am going to sustain that objection.
Your
That-
Honor, permission to go outside the scope for relevant information?
I'm curious. I'm going to grant that.
That's solid.
Understood. So, can I continue with that question or not?
Continue.
All right, sir. Could you, at that time, identify the cavalcade by the dispatch record?
With description of the vehicle and where the location of that vehicle, dispatch gives me a location, a cross street. Yes, I could identify that vehicle, not by license plate, but by description.
Do you think there could be a second cavalcade in the area?
One that jumped off
is
upper to
possible.
lower?
That's all I have.
Good job.
Mr. Shaw.
Yeah. Mr. Rogers. They were very focused on the description of the vehicle. Was your justification in your reasoning solely based on the description of the vehicle, or also the actions of the vehicle jumping off
Objection,
upper?
leading.
Well, that
What are you
question's
doing
so
now?
long, I done forgot exactly what the first part of it was.
All right.
Ask it again.
Mr. Rogers, the decision you made, the call out you made, rather, was that solely based on the description of the vehicle?
No.
What was it also based on?
It was based on the vehicle had been driving towards me, as well as it had come from an area where a reported robbery had just taken place.
I'm sorry, Your
no
Honor.
further questions.
Did you actually respond to the objection? I think I missed it.
I never got a chance to respond to the objection,
Oh.
but I didn't see anything in that question that was
Looks like Yoshi
absurd.
now.
So I don't see any problem with continuing.
All right, I've got no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we can pretty much conclude that we're done with this witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
All
Yes.
right, Mr. Roger, you can step down because this is getting
Thank you, Your Honor.
repetitive. All right, Mr. Shaw, got any other witnesses?
Yes, I'd like to call Kurt Leonard to the stand.
All right. Wait, Mr. Leonard, before you come up, do you waive your Fifth Amendment right and wish to give testimony?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the
All
noise
right,
over there.
I'll say it again. Do you wish to waive your Fifth Amendment right and give testimony?
Yes.
Okay, you do understand that what you do waive that Fifth Amendment right, you are up for recall for the people going up against you if they wish to do so.
I got you.
Which we do, Your Honor.
Of course.
All right, come up.
Deputy Leonard, would you left hand up, please? You swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you, Ghost Stalker.
I do.
Your Honor, the officer has been sworn in. Deputy, sorry.
Sir Leonard, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. If you don't mind me asking, how did you first learn of the situation at Pillbox Medical?
I was at Mission Row getting ready to go on duty. I was eating a Hot Pocket in my cruiser, and my radio was currently turned off. As I was completing my Hot Pocket, I heard shots fired, and then I turned on the radio, went 10-8, and heard the call-outs being made, and I drove to the scene.
And what call-outs were being made on the radio?
Shots fired. Pillbox.
And who made those call-outs?
Deputy Rogers.
And what course of action did you take to respond to the situation at hand?
I put my Hot Pocket down. I took Atlee Street, made a right onto Strawberry Avenue, and responded to the area.
Gotcha. And what did you witness upon arriving to Pillbox Medical?
As I passed Pillbox, I came up right where the staircase is, and I noticed Brenda Pancake. She was kind of sitting or cowering at one of the right near like a trash can or whatnot south of the main entrance next to the road. I saw a red in color vehicle parked just south of the overpass on Strawberry, just before you get onto Los Santos, with an individual down. I parked my cruiser with the nose facing west on the north side of that car, but on the south side of the overpass. I got out of my cruiser and stationed up on the north side of my vehicle and kept overwatch on the south side.
Okay. And did you have any view of the cavalcade in question?
Yes.
What did you see?
I saw it plummet to the earth from the upper portion, and I thought it hit Brenda because it landed exactly where I had noticed she was sitting.
Did you see the cavalcade strike the light post next to Brenda?
I believe so, yes.
And during this time, what were the radio communications like? Short and concise.
The radio communications were quick. At that time, I heard over the radio that cavalcade is involved. And yeah.
Now, when that was mentioned to you, what were you thinking was meant by the cavalcade is involved?
Objection, speculation.
I'm going to sustain that.
Your Honor, Mr. Leonard isn't able to justify what he thought was being told to him. His understanding.
Well, why don't you word your question where he doesn't have to think or thought what's being told him? Why don't you just ask him, Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Leonard, what was your understanding of that cavalcade is involved?
There was an officer down. There was automatic gunfire. The vehicle had just leaped off of the upper portion of Pillbox. I heard that cavalcade is involved. That to me, that cavalcade was involved in everything that I just described.
Based on the radio communication, did you have reason to believe that the individual within the cavalcade was armed?
Yes.
And what made you believe that the individual within the cavalcade posed a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to yourself or others?
Objection, leading. He didn't say any of that.
Well, I can. I'll withdraw that, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Leonard, do you believe that the SUV in question, the cavalcade, posed a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to yourself or others?
I did. It almost killed a woman standing on the side of the road, and it was driving toward my other officer and directly at me.
She said she was crouched.
Was the cavalcade at any point in time driving towards you?
Yes.
Could you clarify in terms of direction? Are we talking directly towards you, just in your general direction? What are we talking about?
Directly towards me. It was coming from the south to north, where I was standing.
And ultimately, why did you shoot at the vehicle that Mr. Solroyd was driving?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Why did you shoot at the vehicle that Mr. Solroyd was driving?
Based on the actions coming off of Pillbox, almost striking an individual, driving towards me, endangering my life, and the fact that the call out over the radio was that he was involved, and Deputy Rogers had already taken shots at it. Having just arrived on scene, not being the scene, controlling the scene, I did what I felt was necessary based on the call outs, which I did not have any I didn't think anything about the call-outs because they were quick and concise. And I did what I had to do to save myself and anyone else.
Understood. And why'd you shoot at Curtis himself? Same reasoning.
Because I felt that he was the threat. It wasn't the cavalcade wasn't the threat. It was the individual in the cavalcade that was the threat.
No further questions.
Ms. West, would you like to redirect?
Can we recall him still?
Well, normally, you would call him whenever it was your turn to call witnesses. Was it made perfectly clear that Mr. Shaw was going to call him in the first place as a witness?
No, I was not aware of that.
He was listed as a witness.
But in the past, he hasn't, typically called them, so I was unaware that he was going to call him for this time.
If I may, perhaps a recess is in order to give the district attorney time to go over her notes and figure out her line of questioning.
Well, I have that. I just wanted to.
I'm gonna put the call into recess real quick. I want to talk to Judge Hodson.
All right.
He's outside.
Okay.
Frank.
He was out of his head for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you need me to go grab him?
Snow, you there?
Your Honor, I think
Yep.
I think my client's
Okay.
using
Can I talk to you after this, please?
the bathroom at the moment.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, I can go ahead and tell you, even though he's not here, about what we discussed, just so you're aware. Normally, cases like this, especially cases of this magnitude, happen over a period of a few days, if you know what I mean.
Right.
When we're doing all this in one sitting. Now, the prosecutor has every right to know that the defendant is going to be taking a stand. I understand they were on the witness list, but let's be honest, every single person that's being prosecuted is on the witness list because they're there to give you the purpose or not, or whether you want to put them on the stand. That was not made clear, so we are going to give the option to let him come back to the stand to ask questions.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
Wait, it wasn't made clear despite me listing him as a witness? Otherwise, I'd have no reason to.
Well, judging by your track record, Mr. Shaw, you add everybody as a witness.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Track record don't lie, man.
Mr. Shaw, this witness is going to be able to be called, to be able to be recalled by the defense. It's definitely not fair, and I see what you tried to do, and I'm not going to let it happen in my courtroom.
Oh, get cut, man. Good judge here, man.
Understood,
Buddha,
Your
I
Honor.
swear to
Mr.
God.
Buddha, shut up.
Buddha, we don't want you getting kicked out. Stop.
Say the word, Yana. It's your courtroom.
What, with Mr. Buddha?
With all of them, all the cheerleaders, with the pom-poms.
I think if I prosecuted Mr. Buddha, it'd be a hate crime for stupid people.
Oh, wow. SBS is strong.
Yeah, it is very true.
Ouch.
Curtin, if he comes back.
All
Rogers.
right. Where were we? I don't
Never mind.
remember.
Fucking
I was
read.
being questioned, Your Honor.
You're about to ask Miss West if she would have wanted to cross-examine.
Yep. You want to cross-examine Miss West?
No, I'll wait for the recall, Your Honor.
All right. You can step down, Miss Leonard.
Sweet.
You are on recall. Don't go anywhere, even though you can't go anywhere anyways. Mr. Shaw, do you have any witnesses?
Just a second, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. I don't.
All right. I know this is a little weird, but the defense, would you like to have your one opportunity to call the one person you're only allowed to call?
That prosecution?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I would like to recall Kurt Leonard to the stand, Your Honor.
Back up you go.
Don't correct him.
You're
In his
already under
courtroom.
oath, so you don't have to be sworn in again.
Yeah, he said I could recorrect there. Shut up.
Oh, God.
Come back again.
All right. I need Leonard's question.
Who the fuck just said that?
I did.
I did want to recall Curtis, but I thought about it. I already asked the questions I needed to.
Oh, is he still sworn in?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was waiting for that. All right. Your Honor, due to previous comments made by the defendant, I'm requesting to treat Kurt Leonard as a hostile witness.
I'm sorry, what comments are we referring to?
The DA's office, ladies and gentlemen. I don't feel as if he's going to be a cooperative witness, Your Honor.
If you allow him the opportunity, DA West.
You want to treat him as a hostile witness? Is that what you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
Under what grounds?
Previous slide remarks made earlier, I do not feel as if he's going to comply
I
with the line
did
of
not.
questioning.
I don't. That's absurd. Continue with your question. No, not hostile.
Okay. Police report 1093, which you wrote yourself, states, I continue to shoot along with Rogers as the driver was suspected of the previous incident, i.e. the officer involved shooting. Are you saying you did not have probable cause that Mr. Swirlroyd committed the crime?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
All right. The police report, which you wrote, states, I continue to shoot along with Rogers as the driver was suspected of a previous incident.
I'm gonna.
What was your probable cause for shooting?
His actions.
What actions was that?
Almost killing a woman sitting on the side of the road, driving toward me.
Solid answer. That's as solid as you can get for that question.
One second, Your Honor. Okay, so you bring up the woman who's almost going to get killed by a vehicle, yet Miss Pancake said that she was crouching in a bush next to a light pole and a bike rack. Which is it?
She was standing next to the side of the road. Or she was crouching next to the side of the road.
Okay, So, are you calling Brenda Pancake a liar?
I don't believe I called anyone a liar.
Okay. So, Rogers specifically stated that he did not say to shoot the vehicle. So why did you open fire on the cavalcade?
That's incorrect.
Okay, so Officer Reinhardt and Deputy Svensson, or deputy at the time, said that they did not hear this, and Michael Rogers himself said that he did not say this over the radio. Are you saying otherwise?
No, I'm not. He didn't say it over the radio, other than that the cavalcade was suspected, or that the cavalcade was involved, and he opened fire on that vehicle.
He's answering this
so
as perfect
why did
as
you
possible.
open fire on the vehicle?
Again, because an officer on scene said that it was involved. His actions, almost, Brenda's exact words were within inches, almost killing her, driving towards me with a vehicle that could have easily killed me, and the fact that the officer on scene was taking shots at it.
Okay. The police report that, again, you wrote also states, I took another shot and heard Svensson call out to cease fire. The individual succumbed to his injuries and went down. Is this true?
Yes. When I heard Svensson say to cease fire, I stopped.
Okay. Both Officer Svensson and Curtis both maintain that you kept shooting at Curtis after Officer Svensson said to stop. So, which is it?
That's exactly right. When I heard Officer Svensson say to stop shooting, I stopped shooting. If you'll recall, I was running north from the south side.
I didn't ask that. I'm sorry. I'm specifically saying that both Curtis and Svensson said that you kept shooting after Svensson said to stop shooting. Yet your report says that you stopped shooting and after Svensson said to stop. So which is it? Did you stop shooting after Svensson said not to? Or
After
did you
I heard
continue?
him say not to, yes.
Okay, so, okay, interesting. You stated that there were reports of a Class 2 firearm and that you continued pursuing as I should with officers down and an immediate threat of automatic rifles. Did you see an automatic rifle in Mr. Swirlroyd's hands?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did anyone in the area, Mr. Swirlroyd, say that he had an automatic weapon or any weapon for that matter in his hands?
No.
So why did you shoot at him?
He knows the answer
I
to
believe
this.
I've answered this.
No, you did not.
Objection, Your Honor. Asked
What's
and
the
answered.
objection? No, I don't believe this has been asked.
It has.
I believe the Aston answered. Well, the question before was why he shot at the vehicle. I believe now she's asking why she shot at him outside the vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That is correct.
That has
Okay.
not been asked and answered.
Okay, that's more clear, Your Honor.
All right, continue.
The reason I kept shooting him was because he was the
No, he said the day-
occupant of the cavalcade. The cavalcade was only a threat because of him.
Okay.
And
So, in this clearing, did you hear Officer Svensson to not shoot him that he did not have a weapon in his hand?
I'm sorry. say that
Objection,
again?
Your Honor. That was incredibly vague.
Apologies.
Yeah,
did
I
you?
agree with that. I'm gonna sustain it.
Okay. Did you hear Svensson say anything?
After I got on scene, yes.
What did he say?
He said to cease fire.
And did you cease fire?
When I heard him, yes.
Why did you shoot an unarmed man even though he was out of the vehicle and running away from you, saying, don't shoot, I'm unarmed, don't shoot?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
I am going to
Asking why.
ask
Sorry.
the question again so I can hear it completely, because it's really confusing the way you asked that.
Sorry.
That's the same exact question you just asked.
All right. Withdrawn, Your Honor.
What's that?
Actually, I asked why he shot him. I want to know, after he realized that he was unarmed, why he continued to shoot at him.
That has been asked and answered. I'm going to sustain that.
Okay.
What was the flavor of the Hot Pocket?
What was the flavor of the Hot Pocket?
Were you present in the courtroom when Officer Svensson said that you continued to shoot after he said to stop shooting?
Again, I'm sorry. Could you?
Were you present in the courtroom when Svensson gave his testimony that you continued to shoot after he said to stop?
I was, yeah.
Okay. This contradicts everything in your police report. Do you want to re-answer the question where I asked, hold on one second, whether you taking another shot and hearing Svensson to call it a ceasefire? Or, you know what? Just withdrawn, Your Honor. Withdrawn. I got my point across.
I think you did get it across.
Thank you. No further questions at this time.
All right. I just want to address to both of you. I know sometimes you might feel this way, but I'm not a toddler, and whenever you try to get a point across, I got it the first time. There's no reason to reiterate it over and over, okay?
All right. Apologies, Your Honor.
I know I act like a toddler, but I'm not one. All right. So no one has any other witnesses, correct?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Miss West, would you like to give your closing?
Yes, I would, Your Honor.
You can step down.
Your Honor, could we actually have a few minutes recess?
Absolutely. I'll take a recess to go and get their closing together. 5
Appreciate
minutes.
that.
5 minutes. Any longer than that, I am going to be
You
a
are
little bit
fucking
upset.
amazing,
A
man.
little bit.
How much you hire?
Well, I'm the DA. You can't really hire me,
All
unfortunately.
right, give me a second.
If
I
give
need
me like a
to.
title, man. Give me
I need
number,
to
man.
get some
Come
of the
on, man.
facts straight here in my closing.
he's
Smiles
still
in
playing
chat,
Peggle. Don't
because
interrupt
that's all
him,
that
Carmen.
matters.
Oh shit, sorry.
I'm waiting
All
for
right.
the statements. I'm ready.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
we're
good.
good.
Okay. All right. Pause your Peggle game.
What the fuck was that?
Justice consists not in being neutral between right and wrong, but in finding out the right and upholding it wherever found against the wrong. The first thing I want to do today is apologize to Mr. Swolleroyd. I want to apologize for what happened to you on June 15th.
Okay, Miss West, can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I'm just done. I have to know something, all right? And it's just been killing me this whole time.
Yeah.
I normally don't ask any questions without any lawyers asking the questions, but I'm going to make a special situation for this. Mr. Leonard, I have a question for you.
Oh.
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of Hot Pocket was it?
Oh, God, I forgot that's important.
It was pepperoni pizza.
I was
All
going
right.
to address that in my
Chasing
closing.
Hot Pockets.
Okay.
He would also have accepted Philly cheesesteak.
I'm not a heathen and I enjoy lean puffins. I'm gonna get back to my closing
Yes,
before
sir.
I get
Okay.
disbarred.
Don't even.
Yes, you're a heathen.
Don't disbar me, please. Okay. Regardless of how the courts rule, I want you to know that what happened was not right and should never have happened in the first place. Mr. Swallowood was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he nearly paid for it with his life. As we have heard from not only Mr. Swallowood's testimony, but from Officer Svensson himself, was that Curtis, who was running for his life, was mercilessly and brutally shot down. He was trying to escape the hail of gunfire that specifically came from Deputy Leonard's firearm. Officer Svensson had a taser on his person that he did not once aim at Mr. Swallowood. In fact, he told Nate he pled to Deputy Leonard to stop shooting, that Curtis was not violent or a dangerous threat and that he was unarmed. If he, Officer Svensson, would have at least had a gun out and also opened fire on Curtis, but Svensson had a taser. That again, he did not deploy. And what Deputy Leonard did upon hearing pleas from both Curtis and Svensson, did he stop shooting? Did Deputy Leonard put down his firearm? No, he did not. He kept his firearm raised and he fired another shot into Curtis Swallowood's bullet-ridden and still bleeding body. He fired that shot, causing Curtis to keel over and succumb to his injuries. And for what? Repeat this with me. For being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is attempted second-degree murder. Deputy Leonard keeping that gun raised and aimed at Curtis and holding down on that trigger, ignoring Svensson and Curtis to continue to unload bullets into Curtis. It's simply textbook attempted murder in the second degree. You do not aim a deadly firearm at someone in close quarters and pull the trigger over and over without realizing the harm that it would cause. This is attempted murder in the second again. And if Leonard did aim that gun and hold it steady and hold down on that trigger while releasing bullets into Curtis without realizing the danger that then that is just as dangerous, and this man has zero business being a police officer or within 100 feet of a firearm. Both instances are completely, utterly, irrevocably negligent and deadly, and again, attempted second-degree murder. Curtis was not involved with the shooting prior. Per the police report, he tested negative for gunshot residue, and in fact, he was not charged with anything after the fact. Regardless of what situation occurred prior is not relevant. It became irrelevant the moment Svensson ordered Leonard to stop shooting. Whatever probable cause existed beforehand became irrelevant the moment Svensson yelled out to Curtis that he was unarmed and that he was not a threat. It became irrelevant the moment Leonard heard this and continued to open fire on Curtis. Stop shooting at me. I don't have a gun. Why are you shooting at me? Stop shooting at me. Were nearly Mr. Swallowood's final words. I cannot imagine the pure, unadulterated terror that Mr. Swallowood was feeling. I simply cannot fathom the fear and the pain and the confusion that was running through his mind as Leonard's bullets were ripping through his flesh. What happened was wrong. It was a great injustice and one that should never, ever be repeated.
West fucking nailed it, chat.
Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. This is not limited to a person's home, vehicle, or other personal property. This also applies to our bodies. Deputy Leonard used excessive, unnecessary brutality against Mr. Swallowood, and as he held down on that trigger, committed a violent desecration of the Fourth Amendment on Mr. Swallowood's person and his constitutional right to unreasonable seizures. As we heard in Randy Bullitt v. Brittany Angel, an officer, before opening fire, needs to announce himself. This is essential to Tennessee versus Garner, and Leonard did not announce himself. In fact, he said nothing throughout the entire ordeal. He didn't even attempt to try non-lethal methods before resorting to his firearm. Why non-lethal methods weren't taken is simply unacceptable. I would also like to touch on the fact that the statements made by Deputy Leonard and the police report that he personally wrote have some glaring inconsistencies. He writes, "I took another shot and heard Svensson call out to cease fire. The individual succumbed to his injuries and went down. Yet both Svensson and Curtis outright dispute this. Was Deputy Leonard lying then? And has he lied under oath? I would say it's pretty damning how Leonard's story doesn't quite line up, and I believe his lies will come back to haunt him. I implore the courts, the judges, to look at Mr. Swallow-Ride, and I mean take an honest look at him and make a stance. Make a stance and rule in favor of the people. Choose to be on the right side of justice and uphold it wherever found against the wrong. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bang, pow, gets fucked, he got burned here.
Mr. Buddha, shut up. Did he just say boom pow?
Yes.
He did.
It's like a comic book.
Sorry, man, I got into it, man. I'm sorry, man.
All right.
All right, Your Honor and people of the court. I'd like again to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to be here. Today, we've heard from a bunch of different people involved in the situation at hand. Unfortunately, the district attorney's office is painting a much different image than what actually happened. So let's go over the actual facts. For starters, Curtis Swolroyd openly admitted that he was armed. He had a weapon. He was not unarmed, despite what the district attorney's office stated. Rami and Randy, who Swolroyd admitted to being friends with and was the boys he was checking in on, both began shooting at the police department. As a result of this, Emily Reinhart and Clarence Williams were both gunned down after being shot by automatic weapons. Shortly after, a cavalcade was then reported stolen at gunpoint and was witnessed by Kurt Leonard to have launched from upper pillbox to lower pillbox, coming within inches of crushing Brenda to a pancake. He then drove the vehicle directly towards Michael Rogers, where Rogers then went over the radio to communicate that the individual within the vehicle was involved in the situation where Reinhart and Williams were shot. On the stand, Rogers made it clear that he implied that the individual should be shot. Curtis then changed direction, heading straight towards Kurt Leonard, prompting them to attempt to disable the vehicle. And upon exiting the vehicle, Curtis then crossed 4 lanes of travel on a highway towards the side of the highway with a bunch of bushes that are easily capable of concealing the pulling of a weapon. Svensson himself made it clear on the stand that if he was aware of the armed robbery reported on the cavalcade, he himself would have responded with a lethal firearm rather than a taser. Remember this. We need to consider the reasonableness of the use of force that needs to be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene, given the information available to the officers at the time, rather than with 20/20 vision of hindsight. Given the information Leonard had, he was entirely justified in shooting Curtis Swolroyd and should be found not guilty. Thank you.
Okay, not bad, man, not bad. 7 out of 10, all right?
Nah, he loses the point for making a pun in his closing.
All right, I am going to put this court in recess. I'm going to go in the back with the other judge, and this probably will take a while because this is a big case. All right, so everyone bear with us, and we'll return shortly.
Understood.
Court's in recess.
It'll take a while. Returning shortly. Understood.
I'm going to put this court back into session. This was hard. All right, this was really hard. Me and Judge Austin, we battled. I mean, we battled back and forth back there. Doing devil's advocates on both sides as much as possible, trying to come to a conclusion. Did we agree in the end? That's even hard to say even then. Ultimate decision's up to me, but it was very hard. I'm going to lay it out the easiest way possible.
What did you just do?
I need to check something. All right, so was the shooting justified? I don't know because there's a lot of different parts of the shooting, so we'd have to break it down. Was the shooting of the vehicle itself justified? Well, by the testimony
yes,
of
I would say
about got hit, the testimony of it driving recklessly. I think the shooting of the vehicle to disable it, which officer testimony was given that it was shot in the motor, would have been justified. Whether an individual was being aimed at while in that vehicle, that was not ever said. It was just the vehicle itself was shot at. Was that justified at that point? I think so. Then we get out to Mr. Swolward running out on foot. He gets shot at by Mr. Leonard. He screams, "Don't shoot, don't shoot. I'm unarmed, don't shoot, don't shoot." I have another officer testified that he doesn't have a firearm. And at one point, another officer yells out, "Stop shooting, stop shooting." And then after that, other bullets were fired. I know Mr. Leonard testified that the shooting stopped immediately after that, but other witness testimony seems to contradict that, and I have no reason to believe another officer would lie when they're not the one on trial, especially when they're brother in arms are being on the same force. There's no reason at all for me to believe that. I can understand the person on trial maybe fibbing a little bit, but not anyone else that is on the force. Is that relevant in any way? It is, because would that shooting be justified if he hadn't yelled out, "Stop shooting, stop shooting"? Possibly. Tennessee versus Gardner would not cover this case, because Tennessee versus Gardner is, the district attorney said that it was not yelled out in any way that shooting was going to happen. Well, shooting already occurred before Curtis ran. Curtis was already being shot at in the car, or the car itself was being shot at, so that announcement was already made. There was no reason to make that announcement. Tennessee versus Gardner does not come into effect with this. Tennessee versus Gardner is for an unarmed person, but it is an unarmed person where you have to announce that you're going to shoot. And, well, like I said, the shooting itself with the car already announced that. Was shooting at Mr. Swalward justified? I think so.
What?
Was it justified to keep shooting after saying stop?
Ooh.
I don't think so.
Ooh.
I think that's when it gets real hairy. I mean, I think whenever he was shooting at Mr. Swalward,
Oh shit.
before another officer close to him yelled stop, that was already borderline going too far. Especially with Mr. Swalward screaming, "Don't shoot, don't shoot. I'm unarmed, don't shoot." And the shooting continuing. That was borderline justified. And to take it one step over the line over there, the testimony given that the shooting didn't stop after another officer said stop, I'm going to find Mr. Leonard guilty of attempted murder in the second degree, 40 months in prison with the fine.
And we don't need a damn cheering squad. Relax. Calm
This
down.
case
Let
is
him
closed.
finish. Oh, he's finished. Oh, shit.
Follow me, Leonard.
Fucking murderer.
All right. Everybody needs to calm down. Everybody needs to calm down.
Your Honor.
Keep it up, and I'm gonna find you in contempt of this courtroom.
Your Honor.
Calm down, Border. Calm down. Calm down.
Yes, sir.
Can we go ahead and get the expungement process started?
Absolutely.
Okay. Leonard, go ahead and follow me.
I want to say that both sides did very well. There was a very, very, very hard case. That was the hardest case I've ever had to do as a judge. It wasn't easy at all. And that you both did very well.
Thank you, Your
I do
Honor.
appreciate that.
All right, so if Mr. Leonard pays you for the expungement, all right, go ahead and pays you now. He still has to get booked for these charges, and after he gets out, his expungement starts his period.
All right. Mr. Leonard, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm okay with accepting payment after, given we are in a different county, and I'm not sure if everything is connected. That makes sense.
It is. This county is connected.
Okay. Do you have the funds on you, Mr. Leonard? It's $2,500 up front to the lawyer and $2,500 towards the end. In fact, wait a minute. Can I waive my fee?
You can?
I would like to go ahead and waive my fee then.
Okay.
I have a question, Your Honor.
Sure.
How is his ability to do his job affected by this? Or would
Not
that
up
be
to me.
Okay.
Not up to me.
Archer, you're command, right?
Yes, I am.
Right. Is he going to be allowed to go on duty during the week that he's under the expungement program?
That'll be discussed with High Command in due time.
He's been allowed to do his job up until now. I don't.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'm not saying I want anything to happen. I'm just asking if there's something will happen. I'll pay his fee.
We will
for the
take
expungement, by the way.
these 2 years.
No. 40 months.
40 months.
We will take these 40
I
months.
can't
to
sentence
discuss it with
him
High
to
Command.
2 years because the maximum is 40 months. I can't legally do that if I wanted to.
I understand. Okay. We'll take these 40 months to discuss with High Command. And we'll handle it internally.
All right.
I will be. Oh.
The expungement program, 5 or 7 days, Your Honor.
7 days.
7 days. All right.
Yep.
I guess he's gonna have to get sent off. Who's gonna do that?
I'm going to do it.
All right. Mr. Leonard, I'm sorry that it worked out this way.
You're a great lawyer.
Judge Coyote, I
It's a
have
tough
a
decision.
question. Curtis was
Thank you.
had a question about the civil case.
Shaw,
Is that
you did
something
amazing.
that we could
You did good, Shaw.
Appreciate it.
request the victim's relief fund on in lieu of having a civil case?
Leonard?
He'd
No.
prefer to. Okay.
No, the victim relief funds for
I
accidents.
need your service
This wasn't
pistol
an
and your
accident.
badge just for now.
Okay. I wasn't sure the parameters of that. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, the victim relief fund is if you were accidentally shot while the officer was doing their duty. Not when the officer purposely shoots at you.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, I need you to face.
Oh, it has to go to court. Everyone has their fair,
Let's move back.
fair
Fuck,
shot.
I need you to
My verdict
All
means
right.
nothing. That's up to the civil judge.
face away from me and put
Alright.
your hands behind your back.
Sorry, I missed the.
Anybody have any other questions?
No, you're
Oh.
right.
Please.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm gonna give them their privacy.
Leonard, I just want to let you know you did what you thought was best in the line of duty, regardless. You know, if you think what you did was right, at the end of the day, that's what was right. And the courts, they thought differently, but that don't make you a bad person. You know that, right? You know that, right?
It's hard to think otherwise, but yeah.
You're not a bad person. You're an officer of the law.
Can we cuff him in the front? I mean, come on.
He
Is that
is,
necessary?
he is cuffed.
Yeah.
in the
We're
front.
having a
He is
moment
cuffed in the
when
front.
just I don't think you get context clues. I'm trying to talk to the man before he gets sent off for attempted murder as a police officer. Can you calm the fuck down? Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Did you see what he brought on his paper there?
Sorry, what?
Don't worry about it.
All right, never mind then.
All right.
Anyway, sorry, Kareem. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that don't go in there thinking you're a bad person because you ain't. Okay.
Really, Reed?
We don't think you're a bad person. The law doesn't think you're a bad person. The law just, the law is the law.
How many cases did I win?
And when the judge makes a ruling, it makes a ruling. We gotta go by it. There's nothing we can do about it. What happens to you after this? I have no idea. It's gonna be up to the sergeant here and the rest of them. But Shaw did his best. I think he represented you well.
No, I don't.
I think Miss West also did a very good job representing her case as well. I don't think there was any foul play here.
This
So,
is for your commissary, Leonard.
There you go.
That should last you.
Thank you.
All right. That's all I want to say. All right.
Hey,
You,
firm.
no matter what happens, you're gonna be one of us. We're not gonna label you a murderer. No one's gonna be talking shit, saying that you're the murderer of the PD. Don't worry about any of that bullshit. Okay.
You're our brother, man.
I want to make something very, very clear, Leonard. In a week's time, this charge will not be on your record. You're afforded the same opportunities that other individuals do get. Understand that, again, after a week of going crime-free, which obviously isn't going to be an issue for you, it'll be off your record. It'll no longer be attached to your name, and you can move forward. And again, I really, really am sorry.
All right, so you're a sergeant.
Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry, Your Honor.
Can I see your ID,
Please do all
Kurt?
processing from back here. I am not going to have Mr. Leonard paraded around in front of those jackals.
I want him to exit.
Understood, Your Honor.
Can he not be cuffed?
Let's I don't want him to look like Cersei Lannister out there, but at the same time, I would like a proper,
We
send
have
out
to
those
treat him
the
like
jail.
everybody else, Your Honor, else we'll look like a bunch of corrupt
I am
fucking
telling
idiots.
you right now that I want you to do it all from inside chambers right here. I do not want him walked out in front of those people.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. I am not going to let a man's dignity
You know we'll get
suffer
shit for this, Your Honor.
something like that. It is uncalled for.
All right. Okay.
I need to.
Don't apologize. You did your job. Okay.
I need to see your ID, and I got to take a picture of you, buddy.
I don't have my ID. It was stolen from
We're in the
them.
courthouse. We can go get you one once this fucking clown parade outside leaves. Your Honor, it's your house. You can tell them to leave at any time. Judge Artson?
Judge Arson. We're gonna need them to leave so we can get.
I can't hear
Leonard
Judge
a
Artson for
card
some reason.
From the front lobby. Okay. Let's go and scream.
Leonard, I want you to know that this kills every fucking fiber of my being.
Yeah. I feel like I was doing the right thing.
You were
And
doing the right thing.
I just hope it doesn't set a bad precedent for the future.
No, it doesn't. Everything Shaw said was fucking phenomenal. He defended your innocence down to the line.
Damn right.
I believe you and Shaw. Nothing against Coyote, but I don't accept his ruling.
From what was said, it sort of sounds like if Artson was presiding, it would have gone a different way, and that's okay. That is okay.
And that's exactly what I said
You're,
before we walked into this fucking courthouse today.
You're clear all the way. The only one out there still is Reed, and he's not going to cause you any problems.
Yeah, he's okay.
All the others have either made their way out or all the way outside. So just go to the vestibule and then come right on back.
Is there a reason he's being booked back here instead of at Boulder?
Yes.
Yeah, because I do not want him paraded in front of every single one of those jackals that are out front. I will not have the men dig these up.
Co, it's fine.
20 grand, I'll do a jailbreak.
Reed, we don't need that. Okay.
Stop, man.
I need to go make sure Spencer's.
Thought I'd
Oh, we
offer.
need to find Kermit. What is it that you wanted to do?
I wanted to go find the
You need
fucking
money.
pig lady.
No.
A pig lady? Who? Oh, the Denzel one.
Yeah, you know the one you agreed to?
It's gonna be right.
$500, goddamn.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Leonard, it's up to you. The chief and the judge are kind of at the horns right now. Cavalcade or Chambers? Up to you. It's your call. Please stand by.
Reed,
Hey, I'll take you all the way up there and
Reed,
sit
come
there the
on
whole
now.
time with you.
Alright, we go out. Let's go for transport. No exceptions.
I ain't no punk bitch. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, I'm
There you go.
gonna
Back
inform
is
the
coming out.
Do you want
judge.
to face away from me?
Oh, actually, there's Mr. Artson right there.
Yep. What's going on?
Your Honor, we're going to take him.
All right.
Still think
That's what you
cuff him in
want.
the front.
That's what he wants.
All right. So be it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, Mr. Leonard.
Let's go.
I wish that was you, presiding Judge Artson.
can I get permission to drive transport?
Permission granted.
Who has the key?
That'd be Winchester.
Oh, the van? Yeah, I got the key.
All units. Attention.
In the rear with your tail guard.
I just want to say thank you all for being here.
You do the same for us.
We know you would.
Leonard will be here when you get out.
How long is your sentence?
40 months, Frank. I've already got it all secured on the MD2.
Alrighty.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Slowed up.
That's normal.
I'll roll lead.
Hey, Leonard, do your job. You'll be out in 10.
You didn't do anything wrong, Leonard.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel.
All right, Leonard. Just face the rear door for me.
Okay, we don't need that. We don't need that.
I said what the fuck I want.
We don't need that bullshit. Don't make us look stupid.
Would you like to come?
Sergeant, would you like to take lead?
Dispatch for 6. Is all unit ready for transport?
I'll jump in back here.
Come, Craig.
Wait, she's
I don't have depth.
No, he's got Winchester in the back, but you're good.
They're dormant.
No.
Combat ready to roll.
Because Winchester. Can I punch Kermit?
Don't overlook
I heard that.
Guys,
I know. But when it did,
Thank you, Emma.
Alright, here for you, not alright.
Yeah. Thank you, Kareem.
Of course, of course. I don't want you going in there depressed or nothing like that. Don't go in there thinking the whole PD turned against you or some dumb shit like that. All right? It ain't like that at all. Not one bit.
We're all here to support you.
All right?
Every
There's
last one of us.
gonna be some assholes in there that you probably sent away. But the thing about the difference between them and you is you got trained experience. You know what I mean? You can handle yourself in there. Easy.
Hey, if you need us to bribe a guard for a conjugal, we'll set up a pool and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
You call 911 if they fuck with you. We'll come down there with ARs and we'll light the whole place up. Fuck it. They're all dead. Don't let any of those assholes that go in there, you know, take control of you. But be smart at the same time. You're only in there for a short amount of time. Don't make it longer. Just do your time, do your thing. And you'll be out. Record to get expunged. And, you know, life goes on.
Mother. Oh.
Local?
Winchester.
Clear, we
what-
just got rammed by a local. The
But
local
just that
tried
was
to
probably
sideswipe
the
the
worst thing you
transport
could have did after this court hearing.
Yeah.
He just tried to assault us.
I don't know if that was
Just
like a
tried to ram
joke
our
or
van.
not, but that was not cool. Poor Winchester. He doesn't get, context.
Well, he did say shooting at the vehicle.
Don't dig a hole, Shia LaBeouf, right? I mean.
If I could face palm right now, I would.
I'll do it for you.
Ow.
Cover that.
Sorry. I was trying to face palm on my knee.
All right, buddy. One step on out.
Emma,
Yes, sir.
I'll let you do the honors, madam. I was going to, but it seems more fitting that you should do it.
I'm good with that. All right.
Let us know when he's ready to go.
Yep. Give me a minute.
Again, I want to say thank you to all of you that are here. I hope that you all know that it was obviously not my intention to do anything that I didn't feel like was necessary in the moment. I'm here to support each and every one of you, and it's heartwarming that all of you showed up. I don't know what to say other than thank you. And if I let any of you down, I'm sorry.
You didn't let us down, Leonard. Not at all.
PD,
for 1 second.
Attention! Salute!
You'll be okay, Leonard.
Leonard, we'll be here when you get out.
I'm not going anywhere.
Don't let them assholes run you down in there.
No, sir.
We love you,
I had
buddy.
a word
We're
with the
family,
warden.
Leonard. We stick together.
You want to follow me to the door?
Every day.
It's gonna be rough, okay?
Yeah.
I'll come visit you.
Okay.
You'll be out in no time.
Yeah. ready to go inside?
Yeah. Let's go. Hey. Take it easy, okay?
You too?
I'll be there when you get out.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too. Thank you for everything.
Uh-huh. Just walk. They're gonna be waiting for you.
Okay. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, you too.
Stay strong, brother.
You know it.
We'll be waiting for you when you get out.
Yes, sir. Now go catch some bad guys.
We love you, buddy.
Love you too.
I'll be back.
You're the best cop I know.
Oh, you are. You stay strong, all right?
You know it. You too.
I can't wait to patrol with you again.
Ditto.
You take it easy, all right?
Yeah. You too.
I'll come see you.
Okay. Thank you.